Hello movie lovers. Today I am starting kind of a new thing on this channel. It's going to be getting the most out of your Amazon Prime membership. I have Amazon Prime, a lot of people do. I mostly use it for the shipping, so the fact that they throw in all this cloud and music and movies and all this other stuff is extra. So really, I haven't looked at the Prime offerings for the movies or the episodes, TV episodes, or anything like that in a while. And whenever I last looked at it, I was extremely disappointed with what they had. So I haven't looked at it in about a year. But with me having Prime again, I decided to look at it for a second time, and I'm actually quite surprised at what they have. They have a lot of new current releases. They have a lot of good movies. They have a lot of, highbrow kind of, Criterion collection kind of stuff. So really, I thought it would be kind of prudent to do a review, kind of a quick review show that's based purely on Amazon Prime gems, I guess you could say. So this is my attempt to bring you movies that you would normally maybe pass up or haven't heard of, or now by no means are these like, foreign film, haven't heard of them, auteur movies or anything like that. These are very popular movies, but you may have passed over them or something like that on your way to Avengers or Hunger Games or something like that. So really, these are great movies to watch on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday night whenever you're looking for something. So my first in this series is a movie called Drugstore Cowboy, and I've always wanted to watch this movie, but I haven't yet, and I'm glad that I did. It stars a young Matt Dillon, Kelly Lynch, and really young, fresh-faced Heather Graham, which it was good to see her. I don't think this is her first role, but it was good to see her kind of younger, playing a kind of a teenage role. So the movie kind of starts out. The movie portrays very successfully. Oh, and sorry, it's actually directed and partially written by Gus Van Sant as well. So if you know Gus, you know his type of movies, and you know kind of what to expect with this. This one is very accessible. It's not a highbrow or a artsy type film. It's very straightforward, but it's very effective in its delivery. So we follow these four kind of youths. I would imagine they're in their probably early 20s or something like that. And Matt Dillon plays kind of the crew leader, and he's the narrator throughout the film as well. And it opens on a bust shot of him kind of narrating, and he has bruises all over his face. You can tell he's hooked up to a machine, possibly in an ambulance. And he's narrating, telling him, the audience about where he kind of started out and what he is, a dope fiend.
I was once a shameless full-time dope fiend.
So then it cuts to kind of like a very effective kind of, I don't know what kind of, like a home movie or something, but it shows these four characters interacting. And really this is a theme throughout the entire movie, to where it wants to portray these four people as normal, everyday people who have an addiction. And this is a topic for a whole nother video, but in my mind, I believe everybody has an addiction to something, whether it's healthy or not. Some people are addicted to fame, some people are addicted to substances, some people are addicted to sex or women or drugs or fame or whatever it is. It's in our brains, it's in our evolutionary brains to become fixated on things, and it's kind of natural, and I can see where somebody could go down this road very easily, but like I was saying before, this movie does a very good job at portraying these people as human beings, as not slums of society. They're not, they rob and steal, that's the whole premise of the movie, but there's a humanity to them that I think the Gus wanted to portray, and I don't know, I watched it alone, but I'm not sure if anybody else feels this way, but I did not feel that these people were nasty, or they were disgusting, or they were, dope addicts. I mean, they were dope addicts, but they weren't what you think of whenever you think of somebody who is a an addict. So that is a very powerful motif throughout the entire movie is their humanity, and they didn't lose it when they became addicted, and they didn't gain it whenever Matt Dillon decides to become clean. It was there present throughout the entire film and throughout their entire addiction. They have love, and they have trust, and they have a passion, and all these other things. They just happen to be addicted to dope, notably Dilaudid. So it kind of tracks them going through their kind of daily or weekly or whatever it is routine, and it shows them interacting with the cop. And I would love to know what the cop's name is, but I've seen him in other movies. He's a prominent actor. I'll probably list it on the screen somewhere where I'm pointing. So it shows him interacting with the cops, and it's very believable. So the cop is a hard ass, and he really wants to find the drugs because these people are knocking off, drugstores, and the cop wants to catch them. But you can tell that instantly you can tell that the cop and Matt Dillon, I forget his name in the character in the movie, but they've butted heads before. They talk about, what his golf score is and where they shoot or where they play golf and all this other stuff. So you can tell that this is not the first time that they've interacted, and you can tell this without any exposition. So there was no people saying, oh, we've interacted with this cop before and he's a real hard ass. No, you get all that just by the way they're interacting. And a lot of movies don't do this anymore, and I don't know why. I think I touched on this a little bit in my John Wick review, but exposition should be completely unnecessary unless you're trying to explain an advanced concept like maybe relativity in Interstellar. It's hard to explain that through, by looking at it. You have to there is a need for expositional dialogue occasionally, but whenever you're trying to show two characters coming together, there's no need. There's no need to show that there's a back history between these two characters. Their interactions alone you should be able to pick up on that, and the movie portrayed that very, very well. And also, what I really liked is Matt Dillon's character arc throughout the entire movie. There was a point where he decides to go clean, and that point was not decided by what you would think it would be. So, okay, major spoilers, I'll just go ahead and say it. Heather Graham decides to kill herself by shooting up too much dope. So, she knew she was going to kill herself. It was way too much dope. It's established that she's a noob to all this stuff, so she probably, siphoned off a little bit of dope, no one knew, and she shot so much that she killed herself. So, and the way that Matt Dillon reacts to this, like you would think like not a normal director, but most directors would say, this is the time that Matt Dillon goes clean, and this is what makes him go straight. But no, Matt Dillon reacts to it like saying, hey, guess what? She just shot your dope, talking to the other guys, his partners, that was his girlfriend, that, Heather Graham. So he would just basically said, look, she just shot your dope, like, you should be pissed off at her. And, obviously the guy was a little, upset that he would say that, and I think he goes to punch him and he completely misses because this guy's a pussy. But most directors would have taken that as the time that to complete Matt Dillon's character arc. But no, it just goes to show you that his quest for dope was too much. But really, the thing that sets him straight is his self-preservation. He realizes when trying to transport Heather Graham's body through a mishap, he has to transport the body very quickly. He finds out that cops are kind of all around him, and he starts to get the paranoid feeling, a lot like Goodfellas did whenever, I forget his name too, but whenever he gets that paranoid, police copter, chasing him, he gets this feeling that he's going to spend his entire life in jail eventually, and he says it in the beginning of the movie, which is very poignant. He said, I'm playing a game I can't win, and I think he realizes that whenever he's transporting the body and almost gets caught, that he could have spent his entire life in jail because of that. So he just realizes that he'll never, ever, ever get off of this train. And so it was this dope fiend mentality where he was trying to look out for himself, and that's all he cared about. So it wasn't the death of somebody else right in front of him that set him off straight. It was the fact that he may end up in jail. So he ends up going straight, and there's a good dynamic between him. This happens really late in the movie, and it almost feels forced, but there's a nice dynamic between him and a very old dope fiend who gives him, very wise words and things like that. He ends up giving him a bunch of dope at the end of the movie, and that's what triggers the end of the movie, which I won't spoil out because that's actually a decent ending. But it was wonderfully shot. It was wonderfully acted. Matt Dillon did a great job. So did Heather Graham, and it was a nice way to see addicts portrayed as really anybody could have done that. Anybody can go down that road. And it's all based on the decisions you make and the people you interact with. And it was nice to see them portrayed as, yeah, they are bad people. I mean, objectively bad people. But it was nice to see them portrayed with a little bit of humanity. And really, I think that's what sets this movie apart from more cliched drug movies is the humanity. So go see it. It's free on Amazon Prime. The way that I found it is by looking up Roger Ebert's 4-star movie reviews. So everything that he's given 4 stars to is on, Prime. Not everything, but the thing that Prime lists, you can filter it by what Roger Ebert has given 4 stars to, and I kind of trust him. So, and I've always been interested in seeing this movie. So I'm glad I saw it. You go see it. Use your Prime membership. They got a lot of good stuff on there. And be looking for more of these Prime reviews. I'll probably pump out 2 or 3 a week. Because I want to use my Prime membership. I'm not just going to use it for computer parts and getting 2-day shipping. I'm going to watch some movies. And I think you should too. Blindside Out. So, comparison, right? I'm going to give you a tiny bit about my background.
It looks kind of like
a science geek. Every time I saw him, I just saw it in my love science.
which was
I'm currently enrolled in school to be an astrophysicist.
Now,